Okay, so you only have a limited amount of time to be able to guess what the secret word is. It's going to be right here on the screen for everybody, but you guys don't know what it is. All right, you can only ask yes or no questions. And just keep in mind I can't say anything. So are you all ready?
Yep.
Great.
Yes.
Let's go.
Is it a person?
Is it a place?
Is it Bangladesh?
Is it a thing?
Ooh. Is it fun to do?
Fun. It's got to be doing your taxes.
Is it an activity?
Is it a board game?
Is it a donkey?
Is it a party game?
Does it come in a small box?
Small. Is it Gloomhaven?
Is it coup?
Is it resistance?
Is it One Night Ultimate Werewolf?
It's gotta be Twilight Imperium 4.
Wow, that was hard. Felt a lot like playing Werewords.
The Arch Gaming Network is proud to bring you this board game review. Now here's your host, Sean Smith.
Hello, and thank you for stopping by. Today we are taking a look at Werewords, which was designed by Ted Alspach and published by Bezier Games. Werewords is a party game. It plays 4 to 10, so it's in that party genre of games. And in Werewords, players are going to have a role. They're either going to be a villager or a werewolf. They're either going to be the villager team or the werewolf team. And during the game, there's going to be a mayor. And this mayor is going to pick a secret word. And then there'll be a round where players are going to try to figure out what this word is by asking yes and no questions, kind of in the style of a 20 questions type of game. If the villagers get the word correctly, the werewolf still has a chance to win. And if they can't guess the word, the villagers can still win if they can figure out who the werewolf is. Because in this game, you're going to have players who'll know the word, but don't want to be too obvious about it. Why don't we just take a look at the setup and how to play, and I'll give you my thoughts on the other side. Alright, to set up Werewords, it's pretty simple. You have the box here that is also a tray. You have these yes and no tokens. Let's put those on one side. You have some maybe tokens, and then you have a so close and correct. And just put those off to the side. You're going to have a number of players. We're playing with 6 players today, so we're going to have 7 cards. And really, you're going to just figure out using the Werewords app that you can download for free. We're playing 6 players, and then we can choose, what characters we're going to have in the game. We're going to just set up for a basic game. We're going to have 1 werewolf, a seer, the rest are villagers, plus 1 mayor. All right. So you'll pull those cards out, you shuffle them, and you give 1 to each player. All right. There'll be 1 card left over, which you'll put in the center of the table. The mayor then will reveal themselves. Let's just say it's going to be the last. You've got to be kidding me! It really was the last one. All right. So we are going to play as the mayor. So we will flip this up. All right, so everybody knows. Then we will get the box. And then we will take the roll that's in the middle of the table. Secretly, we'll look at it. We are a villager. We could have been the werewolf. We could have been the seer, but we are the villager. Once again, you're going to fire up the app. You're going to choose, whether you want to do a easy word, medium word, a hard word, ridiculous words. We'll just set it to easy words for the tutorial. We have a game timer that we can set or not. And then once we're ready to go, the setup is done, then we would hit play. All right, to play Werewords, it's pretty simple. I mean, really, you just have, it's kind of like 20 questions, because the app is going to give the mayor a word, or actually several words to choose from. We'll see that in a moment. The mayor then will choose one of those words secretly. No one else at the table will know what it is. And then the app is going to tell the seer and the werewolf to open up at different times. The seer is a villager. The werewolf is against the villagers. They also will know the secret word. Once once the mayor has chosen the word and the seer and the werewolf know what the word is, play will start with everybody at the table trying to guess what the word is using yes and no questions. All right. The seer and the werewolf have, kind of a nuanced character because they both know what the word is. The werewolf does not want the villagers to get it right, so the werewolf will be trying to throw off the villagers as far as what the word is, but they don't want to be too obvious. The seer knows what the word is and could just come right out and say what the word is, and the villagers could win then. But again, the seer doesn't want to be too obvious either. The reason for that is the way that the game plays is that the timer will start and everyone will start asking yes and no questions. And as the mayor, when somebody asks a question, I can do yes, no. The mayor cannot speak at all, only give out these tokens. Yes, no, maybe, so close, or if they get it correct. You have 4 minutes to try and figure out what the word is. If the word is discovered within the 4 minutes, the villagers don't automatically win. Okay, the werewolf will reveal him or herself and then try to figure out who the seer is. And if the werewolf can figure out who the seer is, the werewolf still wins the game. If no one can get the word within the 4 minutes, then all of the players will vote for who they think the werewolf is. At the end of the vote, whoever has the most votes will reveal their character. And if that person is the werewolf, then the villagers win. Otherwise, the werewolf wins. So as you can see, again, as werewolf, you don't want to be too obvious. As seer, you don't want to be too obvious. All right, so let's run through the app real quick. The app does a great job of walking all the players through the game. So again, you've set up the different characters that you're going to use. There are different characters. For example, there is a beholder that you could play with. There's a minion who's a villager that's helping the werewolf. If you have more than 7, they suggest playing with a second werewolf. We have 6 players. We're going to choose an easy word and start the timer.
Everyone, close your eyes. Mayor, wake up and tap your secret roll.
All right, since we are a villager, we're just going to click
Mayor,
the villager.
choose a magic word.
Groom or French fry? Let's
Mayor,
French fry.
here is your magic word.
Everyone's eyes are still closed, of course.
Well, I certainly can't pronounce that. Mayor, close your eyes. Seer, wake up and view the magic word.
Of course, the seer now knows what it
Close
is.
your eyes. Werewolf, wake up and view the magic word. Werewolf, close your eyes. Everyone, wake up. You now have 4 minutes to figure out the magic word.
All right, and then you would have a timer going off, of course. If, again, everyone will start asking yes or no questions. The mayor cannot say anything except to hand out those tokens. Well, if they get it correct,
Congratulations! You discovered the magic word. Werewolf. Turn your card face up. You now have 15 seconds to find the seer.
so if you were the werewolf, you would have to try to figure out, okay, maybe who was giving the most clues, or maybe the seer is the person who actually guessed the word right. It's depends on how obvious it was.
Time is up. Werewolf. 3, 2, 1. Vote.
And if the werewolf picked the correct seer, then the werewolf would win. Otherwise, at that point, the villagers have won the game. And that's really pretty much it. It's a very simple party game that really has some nice nuance to it with the different roles that you have in there. Okay, so that is Werewords. Now, let's talk about the components. There's not a lot of components in the box. You do have the yes and no tokens, so close, and correct tokens. They're well done. I like the double-sided nature use for those tiles. The app that you use is very nicely done. I've not had any issues with it. It's easy to use. It nicely walks the players through a round of the game. It's easy to hear and to read. You know, if you are one of the various roles that will need to know what the word is, it's easy to pick up all that information. The tiles, the hidden roll tiles that will be dealt out at the beginning of each round, really thick tile, cardboard component. Very, very nicely done. I do wonder, though, if they're going to begin to show wear on them, at least the ones that I played my copy a lot, and I do start to worry about a little bit of fraying on the ends of the tiles, because you certainly wouldn't want that to give away a roll if somebody kind of picks up, oh, there's a little mark on a tile. So I do worry about that, but otherwise the tile, very good component. Now, this game is in a line of games that Ted Alspach has designed, kind of this werewolf universe. It started with the granddaddy of them all, Werewolf, and then they came out with which, by the way, I've never played. I can't believe I haven't played it. But then there was One Night Ultimate Werewolf, which I have played, and I played a lot of that. Then they had Ultimate Daybreak, Ultimate Alien, Ultimate Vampire, Werebeasts, and then coming in July of 2018, depending on when you're watching this, Bezier is going to be kickstarting a new version that is Super Villains, One Night Ultimate Super Villains, which promises to have villains and heroes and variable powers for all the different players. So I'll be very interested to see what that is about. But we're not here to talk about those. But I did just want to mention that, you know, this Werewords does kind of follow along in that line of games, and it kind of makes sense. I mean, if you didn't know about those other games, you would probably wonder about the theme of the game. The game really is kind of a 20 questions game that has this werewolf theme thrown on to it, which probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but when you realize it's in that line of games, then it does make sense, and I enjoy the theme of all those various games anyway. Now, unlike some of the other games in the genre, this game is less social deduction than it is about this 20 question style of game, in that in many of those other games, and probably like, for example, One Night Ultimate Werewolf, it's 100% social deduction. You have a hidden role, and you're trying to convince people that you are who you say you are, or aren't who they say you are. And sometimes you have to deceive people. And that is totally, a social game, which is incredibly fun to play. But if you are with a group of people, maybe you go to a game night somewhere and you're playing with strangers or people who just aren't comfortable with maybe being deceptive or being that social in a game. They're not quite sure how to go about, playing this type of genre. They may be turned off. And that's kind of where I like this game here, because it really doesn't focus a whole lot on the social deduction. Sure, it's there, but again, it's primarily trying to guess what the word is. And that is a lot of fun. I mean, most of the people playing the game are the villagers, so there's a great satisfaction of being able to find out what that word is. However, there's a great balance going on too, because there is a second part of the game. See, the game feels like you're playing 2 games in one. You're kind of playing 20 questions type of game, and then you're playing a little bit of the social deduction, because you do have the seer, and you have the werewolf. And by the way, the game has other roles that can be in the game depending on how many players you play. But you do have this balance where the seer is trying to help the villagers but not be too obvious, and of course the werewolf is trying to be deceptive, but again not trying to be too obvious, because if the villagers do guess the word, the werewolf can still win by figuring out who the seer is. And if they don't guess the word, then everybody will have to vote on who they think the werewolf is. So there is that cool social deduction, hidden role type of thing in there, but it's not as thick as it is in other games. And so I think this makes a great game for new groups or people who normally don't like playing social deduction games. And it's a great way to introduce them to this game, to ease them into something that maybe would lead on to an Ultimate Werewolf or one of the other games. So I find this to be a very enjoyable game. I give this game an 8. Now, if you've enjoyed this review, please hit the like button, leave a nice comment, and don't forget to subscribe and check out our other great content. And I once again thank you for stopping by.
Thank you for visiting the Arch Gaming Network. For more great content, check us out at archgamingnetwork.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
All right, this is take 1. Okay.
Go.
Oh, then it's clearly doing your taxes.
Dang it!
Is it a place?
Dang it!
You're screwing it up. You're
I know
good.
y'all are doing it perfectly, and I'm...
We have a script.
All right. I did say this will only take a half hour. All right.
You're right.
Take 3.
Sean's fault.
All Sean.
Oh, Sean.